Hello, beautiful YouTubians of YouTube. Welcome back to the Crochet with Kelsey channel. Today I am going to be designing a new pattern and I wanted to take you along for the ride. Yeah, I know in my last video I said I was going to do a part 2 to my other video, and in the meantime, while I'm waiting for my yarn to come in for that video to finish one of my custom orders, I decided to work on one of my works in progress, which is a pattern that I've had half done and laying around for probably about a month now at this point. So I looked at it, I said, I don't really have a lot going on right now. That doesn't sound good. Crochet wise, I don't have a lot going on right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and revisit this work in progress and hopefully get the pattern all written up so that it can be released to the public. So I'm gonna show you what I have so far, and I want you to try to guess what it is in the comments. No cheating. If you guess, you have to guess before I show you what it is. So this is the head. I know it really gives a lot of weight, right? This is the body. These are the feet. These are the arms. And I know you're thinking, Kelsey, that could be anything. Well, wait until you see this part. I don't know, there's only a certain number of things this could be. If you haven't guessed, or if you did guess, I am making a Pachirisu pattern. Pachirisu is a little Pokemon that kind of looks like a squirrel. He's like a little electric squirrel, and I'll probably call the pattern something along the lines of electric squirrel. But I remember working on this pattern and I was just getting like so burnt out because I tried to redo this tail a million times, and I think I kind of got it to where I wanted it. I also really don't want to redo it, so I think I'm gonna try to, I think if I can just like sew this down some way, it can be like perfectly how I want it. I don't know though, like I feel like I can just adjust some of the stuffing and make it look good. It's kind of like not stuffed there for some reason. I think I took some of the stuffing out, but I do think we can save this tail because it is really big, and this is in Big Twist Posh, so the fact that it's bigger than my head, you know, it takes a lot of yarn to make that. We can't be out here wasting the Big Twist Posh. It's a rarity now. So basically what I do whenever I write my patterns is I envision what I want the pattern to look like. I usually start with the head, and then I make all the other sizes of the other body parts based on how big the head is. So I did start with the head this time. Pachirisu has like a little oval shaped head, but it is like perfectly round. He doesn't have really like cheeks or anything that stick out. He does have like little, you know, like Pikachu has the little sacks, I think they're called, on his little, like for example, I have a little Pichu pattern right here. This pattern is from Just Peachy Crochet. Just like Pichu, he has these little things on his face that kind of look like cheeks, but Pachirisu's are yellow. But anyway, what I'm saying is that the head was pretty easy to figure out because, you know, there's not any like weird increases or anything that I'll need to put in there. So I'm happy with the head shape. So the head shape is good to go. The next thing I made was the body, and I made the body a size that I thought was proportional to the head. And you're like, Kelsey, that's not proportional. Well, you know what? If you look at Pachirisu, it is. He is all out of whack. He should not even be able to stand up, honestly. So I thought that this looked good. I made his little arms, and he just has very simple little arms, and I want them to kind of be like, yeah, by closing this up, you know, they kind of can like lay flat against the body. I don't know why I was trying to show you on myself and I didn't just do this. That is what I want. I want something like that. Once I had all of those parts done, I was thinking, well, he's gonna have a pretty big behind, as in he's gonna have a lot of weight in his tail. So I figured that instead of having him like stand up, it would probably be easier for him to be sitting down with his feet in front of him. So I'm kind of thinking that's gonna be something like this. Yay! whenever I'm writing patterns, I basically just try to crochet the shape that I'm envisioning, and if it works out, great. If not, I frog back until the point where I realize I messed up. And as I'm writing the pattern, I write everything down in my notes. And no, I do not use a pen and paper. I write them down in my notes app, which is very handy because, like, let's be honest, most of the time I'm like not really sitting at a desk. I'm kind of like chilling on the couch. It works for me. And then once I'm done with the pattern, I will put it into Canva, and I will also put it into a format that other people can understand, because if you saw my shorthand notes, you would probably think I'm out of my mind. Also, as I go along, I kind of like to pin all my pieces together to kind of get a feel for what it's going to look like once it's assembled, and to figure out how large to make the other pieces. So I'm gonna do that real quick and just kind of show you what I have. Yay! So something like that is kind of what I'm envisioning. I know it's not perfect, but try to use your imagination to believe that it's all gonna work out. Oh, and I almost forgot the tail. And then his tail will be like that. So what I'm hoping to do, because it makes me so mad whenever a plushie is like in a sitting position and it can't actually sit, like if it's gonna fall over, because it's really frustrating whenever you take them to markets and you're trying to like put them all, you know, in a way to where they are sitting up and they look nice, and then the first gust of wind blows and they're gone. They're off the table. They're rolling off the table. So I wanted to do the public a favor and make this one that can sit on its own. So I think my first priority is gonna be I'm gonna try to put more stuffing in the tail to try to get rid of that weird, it's like flat at the top right there. But like, I'm really proud of like the tail shape, and it took some strange methods to kind of get it like this, which I won't share because I want you guys to buy the pattern, let's be honest. No, really, it was kind of a challenge because this goes up to like 40 something stitches in a round, so it was challenging to kind of give it that effect where it's like a triangle. Y'all probably think I'm crazy right now. I've never really talked about my pattern writing process, but saying it out loud, it sounds kind of ridiculous. But anyway, I'm gonna try to work on that first. I'm gonna try to fix that off camera, but I also wanted to show y'all the other yarns that I got for this project. So whenever Joann was having their first really big sale, right after we found out they were going bankrupt, I bought the yarn for this project. So that's how you know how long it's been since this has been a work in progress. I got this yellow Big Twist Posh for his little cheeks. It is the same yarn that I used for the other parts of his body. I'm not really sure if I want to do felt cheeks or not, because sometimes I just can't get the circles when I sew them on. I can't get them to look super flat against the face, so that's just something I'm gonna have to play around with. And then for his little blue color, I got this one. It is a little lighter probably than he actually is, but it was the closest one that they had, and I wanted to use the same yarn for every part of this project. So I'm super excited to do that, and my next step is going to be to crochet some of the blue parts on him, which include his ears. He has a little stripe down his back and down his tail, and then he has some spikes on his tail. So really, whenever I look at it in the grand scheme of things, I'm kind of almost done. It's just a matter of sitting down and doing it. So I'm glad I'm finally doing it. So I'm gonna work on a couple of things, and then I will be back with an update of how much I got done today. And then I don't know if this is gonna be a multi-day video. I'm kind of hoping not, but knowing me, it probably will be. But before I go, I also wanted to show you that I made some little felt eyes. I made these the same night that I was making the Pichu, and I'm not sure if they're gonna work yet because I kind of need to see the other proportions of, you know, his ears and stuff, but I don't know. I'm so over felt. They would look something like that. And you know what? I think they're probably gonna be okay. It's gonna take a really long time if I try to do this again, if I need them slightly bigger, smaller. So if it looks okay once everything else is on it, it looks pretty proportional, then I think we're in the clear. So with that, I will check in a little bit. So unfortunately, I spent about the last 30 minutes or so trying to wind up my skein of blue yarn and there was a knot in it and it was just kind of a nightmare, and I ended up giving up. And I did get this much before the knot incident happened, so this should be plenty to work with. It definitely will be plenty to work with just because it's for the accents. And I just like messed around with the tail a little bit, and I think it just needed to be like floofed up, like the stuffing just needed to be adjusted, because this is the shape that I was going for, and I usually don't fasten off my projects until I'm like totally happy with the way that it looks. But I mean, I think that's a nice round tail. So I'm happy with that. I'm good with this. I'm gonna go with this. And now it's time to work on the blue parts. So here's my first attempt that I'm actually pretty happy with, but I do think that I want it to be a little thicker towards the bottom. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to frog the last 2 rounds of this and retry making it a little thicker. So we'll see how that looks. All right, so after completely frogging and remaking the ears probably 3 times total, I finally decided on an ear shape, and it's gonna look like this. So I'm not exactly sure where I'm gonna sew them yet, if I want them a little closer together or not, but I'm gonna wait until I make the stripe that goes down the middle to see kind of what the proportions are looking like. But with the eyes that I already have made, I think the proportions are looking pretty good, maybe. I don't know, I'm kind of getting tired for the day, so I might put this down and work on it a little bit more this weekend and kind of have an update for y'all with all the parts done, maybe not sewn on, but having all the parts done. Pokemon are especially hard for me. This will only be the 2nd Pokemon pattern that I've ever made, but since they are something that exists and they're perfect the way that they are designed, I want to try to match it as closely as possible. So I want to make sure that all the proportions look right. I don't want it to look like some kind of knockoff Pokemon that, you know, is drop ship. I want it to look good and I want it to look perfect. But this is the other Pokemon that I made. He probably was a work in progress for like 2 months maybe, because I just wanted to get all of his little features perfect. I don't know if I said it already, but this is Lit Leo. I'm really proud of the way he turned out, but it did take a long time because I just wanted to make sure that he looked as good as he possibly could. So that is also my goal with this Pachirisu pattern. That's all for today, and I'll update y'all later. So I know yesterday I said Pachirisu was my #1 priority, and he actually was. It's literally the only thing I worked on yesterday. I probably spent 2 hours after making the ears trying to work on the next part, maybe even longer, honestly, because I feel like I was doing this all night. So as I showed you, I have the tail done, and this is what took me the longest amount of time. I made probably 5 or 6 of these little pieces to go on the tail, and the first one was just extremely thick, like it was just way too thick at the base, and he kind of has a more narrow stripe near his booty, and then it kind of like goes up and gets thicker as it heads up the tail. So I made one that was too thick, and then after that I made one that was too thin at the bottom. So I think this is the perfect like in between, and you're gonna have to use your imagination because it's not sewn on yet, but it's gonna go like that. And I know it's like sticking up low. I know it's sticking up a lot right now, but I think it'll look really good once it's sewed on, and it has a little point back there. So I'm super excited. This is like the star of the show for this plushie because Pachirisu's tail is just, you know, so voluptuous and beautiful. I'm very excited to get it all together. So along with that, I also ended up making the tail spikes that he has on his tail. And he has 3 different tail spikes. Look inside my crochet bag, it's such a mess right now. I don't think I've cleaned it out since market prepping, so I still have like all those black safety eyes of like a million different sizes in there, and then I've been working on a custom, and You know how it goes, right? So there's 3 different tail spikes. The one in the middle is actually like the biggest one. So that's gonna be the one that goes in the middle. The one in front is a medium size, but it's a similar shape. So that's gonna be the front one. Yeah, I'll put them on my fingers to show you. And then the one on his back is like a little more narrow. So I did this one. It's also a little bit short. Oh wait. So I got those done. So just imagine like how sick this is gonna look once it's all done. It's gonna look something like that. Okay, I know the screen on my camera is tiny, but that looks awesome. I'm super proud of how this is coming together, but whenever I was working on my little spikes last night, I was like, I kind of like how those are looking, and I kind of compared my ears again, and I feel like my ears were too pointy. So I know that's like one of the things that I got done yesterday, but now I'm thinking that I like this shape more, because even though there's a similar number of stitches in both of these in each round, I don't know, I just like the way that this one kind of starts a little thicker at the top, because I feel like that's what his actual ear looks like. And you know what, I want this to be perfect, and looking at this ear compared to the shape of one of the little tail spikes I made, I realized that the ears are basically just smaller versions of the big tail spikes. So I am gonna redo the ears, and unfortunately you probably won't hear from me again this weekend, but good news for you is that you'll see me in like a minute, and it'll be fast forward 3 days for me. So I have some friends coming in town this weekend, so I'm gonna be playing host and entertainer, and I'm super excited. But unfortunately that means I'm not going to be able to get much done on this pattern. I'm still waiting on my yarn for my other custom order to come in, so I will be working on this in the meantime, and I'm really hoping to get something together sometime next week. So I definitely want to have something done by the time that this video releases. So that's gonna kind of be my motivation to keep going. I was kind of getting discouraged. I realized that, you know, this is gonna be a longer project than I thought, because with some of the other patterns that I made, I feel like the shapes come really naturally, and this one is just a little more difficult to figure out. This one's a lot of trial and error, and since I'm making an actual thing that already exists rather than something I'm like making up in my head, it is a little more difficult, but that's okay, because I know that the final product is going to be worth it. But before I go on my little weekend adventure away from yarn, I do have a yarn haul today that came in that I really want to show y'all. So let's go check that out. Max is inspecting the box just to make sure that it's safe to open. I'd say he approves. I lost my regular scissors, so now I'm having to use my nice felt scissors to open everything, and I'm really gonna try to keep my address hidden this time. I have messed up so many unboxing videos because I've accidentally showed my address. This is so exciting for me. I've been waiting for this order for a while now, and it's got a lot of good stuff in it. So me and Millie from Red Mills Crochet, aka Mildred, went in on a Hobeenies order together. I never realized that it was called Hobeenies, and I thought it was a joke. I always thought it was called Hobbiness, but it's not. So they have free shipping if you order a certain amount, so we decided to just go in together so that we could reap the free shipping benefits. Oh my goodness. Uh-oh, you can see a little yarn leaking out right there. Oh, Max is so excited to check out this box. It's gonna be a really good box, Mr. Max. Oh boy. One more layer. Oh boy. Whoa! What's that? There's a better angle for you guys, but I got a ton of Elise Softy plus I have been loving this yarn and I just wanted more colors of it because it's just so soft and it's super nice to work with. So I got quite a few colors of that. I almost have all the colors now. Here's some more that I got. And then I also got a bunch of Himalaya Baby Dolphin in the colors that I am running low on in terms of my chenille yarn stash. So I got 2 of the green, 2 of the light blue, 2 yellows, ooh, 2 of these like mushroom toffee colors, 2 of these grays, this color, a couple of mints, and then my sweet baby girl Millie hooked me up with some bonus yarn, so thank you, Millie. She got me some of these because I didn't realize that I was going to be testing her Golem pattern, and I messaged her and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sad that I didn't get colors in Elise Softy Plus to make the Golem. And she said, oh, I hooked you up and I put some in your package, so thank you, Millie, I love you. And then she sent me this, which I definitely will use. I do like this glitz yarn. It's a little hard on the fingers, but it's cute. I hope you guys liked watching me unbox my yarn. So the most difficult part of the pattern designing process is over. I've successfully crocheted all of the parts. So I went ahead and sewed the head and the body together and put the ears kind of where they're gonna go so that I could map out how big to make the other pieces. So I did get his little stripe done. So it'll obviously be sewed down and not so curly, but it'll look something like that. And I also crocheted his little cheeks today. So those will go on him as well. And now I'm gonna sew everything together and map out where everything needs to go. So I will check in after that, and then we'll see if the felt eyes that I had made earlier for him are the correct size. And if not, I'll have to make more. And I'm also probably gonna give him a little felt mouth because I feel like he is famous for that little tooth that he has in front. So I think it'd be really cute to add that to this pattern. Stay tuned to see how it turns out. Oh, okay. I wasn't filming a video or anything. Yeah, that's fine. So I've been working on sewing this for definitely over an hour now, and I've run into an obstacle. So I've realized that he's not going to be able to stand on his own because his tail is too heavy. And I can't decide if I want to have him sitting to where he can still stand on his own, but his tail isn't going to be all the way up. His tail is usually like all the way up, like almost touching the back of his head. But I'm pretty happy with the way that it looks so far. I'm just gonna take a break and try to figure out what I want to do about the rest of the body, because he's just gonna tip over with his tail, so kind of sad. But on the bright side, I think the eyes that I already have cut out are a really good size, so I'm gonna go ahead and stick with those. So that's a good sign that I don't have to cut more eyes at least. I told you I was taking a break, and I went downstairs, made Bonnie's dinner, and then decided that I wanted to finish this tonight because I have some pattern tests and custom orders to get done next week. But I have finished him, except for his little felt mouth. I'm honestly really happy with the way that he turned out, and he can sit. Let me show you. He can sit. So I'm pretty satisfied with the way that he looks, so I just gotta cut out the mouth and I will be done with him tonight. So I tried crocheting a smile on and he looks absolutely cursed. So I went ahead and made this little felt one instead, and I think that'll be the perfect little finishing touch. I did it, guys. I finished my Pachirisu Pokemon plushie, and you know what? I'm pretty satisfied with how it turned out. I will say this is probably maybe the most difficult pattern that I've ever had to write, but I'm glad that I'm able to get a pattern for it out. Whenever I was looking for a Pachirisu pattern, I couldn't find anything that wouldn't turn out super huge in the super bulky yarn that I typically use. So I hope a lot of Pokemon lovers out there will make a little Pachirisu, and the pattern tester call for this guy will probably be coming out soon. I also use fabric glue to put all the felt pieces on, but it's kind of just to hold them in place for now because, I don't know, I feel like it's not as sturdy as hot glue, so I probably will go back over this with hot glue later to make it look perfect. And if I do decide to sell this, I obviously don't want the eyes to come off, but let me know how you think I did on this plushie in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts, and don't forget to like and subscribe to see my other videos I have coming up. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.